Yeah. So, well, how are you?
I'm fine. I'm fine. There wasn't air sirens for, I guess, 3 hours, so it's a good sign. We even had a dinner right now, so I'm fine.
Okay, like a weird moment of normality.
Yeah. We even switched on music. It's like an unusual time for today because you get afraid of every sound, especially drums.
Oh God.
So it was
Yeah.
really a weird moment of normality, and I hope it will be as long as possible.
And whereabouts are you in Kiev?
What about what?
Where are you in the city? Are you
I'm in the district of KPI. I don't know how to tell you exactly. It's nearby center, but not exactly in the center.
okay? Just so about a mile away from the centre.
I guess it's about 5 miles away from the railway station, from the central railway station. So I guess it's will give you some understanding.
So could you explain what you do in your life to give this a bit of context?
Not in the war time, you mean?
Yeah.
I'm a journalist, and I'm the founder and the chief editor of a blog about Ukrainian music, Lirum. Also, I'm chief editor of media in business. We write about business in Ukraine mostly, and also I'm a musician of the band Black Balloon, and we play indie rock.
I mean, obviously, this is just a completely horrible situation. I mean, are you in touch with all the other musicians, and how is the community, the music community, and how is it reacting? And can you react? I mean, what can you do?
You're not thinking about music right now, actually. It's not time to do this. So everyone tries to help, or everyone tries to flee and tries to get their families out of Ukraine, mostly. So the first 2-3 days, everyone was looking for way out to get someone out of Kyiv, out of Eastern regions, mainly because most time war situation is happening in Kyiv and big cities in Eastern Ukraine. There are some shellings in Western Ukraine, but not so often as here. So everyone tries to get people to leave, get their parents to leave, get their children to leave, Ivano-Frankivsk, Chernivtsi, Lutsk, and other cities. Some have already flew away through the border. I don't know the correct numbers, but as far as I've seen, it was at about from 500,000 to 4 million people who already get from Ukraine abroad, and it's okay, I totally understand them. But also we've got curfew all around and wartime all around the country, so you can't get abroad if you're a man before 60 years. So you need to stay here as a man. So you can send off only children and women and elderly people. So every musician that I know, for example, in Kyiv, almost all of them are trying to do best they can for Ukrainian army, for Ukrainian military, for Ukraine at all. So they're or volunteer or try to get to the territory forces inside the country, inside the town, and stuff like that. So everyone gives money, everyone's trying to be helpful.
And so what kind of role are you taking? I mean, do you have national service there? Have you got a military training from when you were younger?
No, I'm not because I'm not able to due to some health reasons. But I try to do my best in information forces because I was working in news when it was 2014. I was in a news channel in Ukraine. I was writing about the situation happening in Donbass, so I have some experience in wartime journalism, and that's what I do right now. I try to write down in my media, in AIN media, try to give interviews to people who want to know what's happening in Ukraine, try to send information to everyone, try to connect people, try to network. I'm speaking to you right now, so that's kind of what my fight looks like.
I mean, do you get a picture of what's going on? Is it easy? I mean, I guess your media is more open than the Russian media, so you have an idea of the picture,
Yeah.
or is it very difficult when you're in the middle of it to actually get a picture of what's going on, surrounding you?
You mean how to get a picture of what was going on? Yeah, of course, in Russia it's much more difficult because they don't have free media right now, and Russia closes it down every day. Every day it closes new and new media, and everything we hear from Russian official sources, it's just not true because I sit here in Ukraine, I sit here in Kyiv, and I see what's happening. And after that, I open Russian media, I read what they write, and it's totally not what's happening. So it's not a question for me if whether to believe or not. It's hard to believe things that you can't see in your own eyes. So yes, of course, it's easier for me to believe Ukrainian media because I work in journalism. I know people who write about it, and I can believe them. First of all, second of all, of course, I believe that sometimes it can be they can't say about our losses, or they can be sometimes a little bit too more patriotic. They make sometimes may tell about some information a bit blurred, and it's okay for me, but mostly I believe that that's what's really happening, because I can take a phone, I can phone my friends from all around Ukraine, and they will tell me, yes, that's what's happening right here. And that's what's happening right now. I see it on Twitter, I see it in my messengers, I see it everywhere. That's why I believe Ukrainian media, and I don't believe Russian media. And also there are a lot of British media, American media, European media working right here, and they confirm almost everything that Ukrainian media write.
I mean, do you see the role of a journalist? I mean, obviously to tell the truth as much as you can see it, but in a situation like this, in a war, is there also a responsibility for the morale of the people in the country and as well? Do you kind of concentrate, if you can, on giving stories a slightly upbeat edge if possible?
I think that journalists this time are extremely important because people really don't understand what's going on, and it's quite hard to get in the war zone because it's extremely scary. It's really scary because you can be killed any moment, and it's not like I'm exaggeration and I'm like trying to tell this very stuff. I don't know, weird stuff happening here. You can be killed any moment. It's true because I worked in Suspilne last year. Suspilne is like Ukrainian broadcaster, like country broadcaster, and their office is called a pencil, Polivets for Karandash, and it's located nearby the TV station, TV tower that was shot 1 hour ago. It's right there. 5 people died. It was like 1 hour ago while we were writing you down, and we were speaking about our interview right now, and that's what happened. I heard this missile strike. We went to the bomb cellar. We went up. I switched on the internet, and I saw that 5 people died near the place I worked last year. It was like 2 months ago. So I'm not exaggerating when I say that as a journalist and even as a normal guy, you can go outside your house and be killed. So that's what's happening in Ukraine. That's why I'm talking to you. That's why I'm trying to tell everyone that it's a horrible situation. It's not like, I don't know, something not so bad happening.
Yeah, I think, I mean, obviously, we can't imagine how horrible the situation is there, but we are aware of how horrible it looks, from the outside looking in. I think, I don't know if this is much makes you feel any better, but I think everybody in the world knows knows how bad it is there and how claustrophobic and dangerous and terrifying it is, and people very much on Ukraine's side in this confrontation. So and I think people are kind of willing you to survive and get out the other side of this. I mean, does that help as well at all to know that people are actually watching? It's not a forgotten war by any means.
So what's the question? I just
yeah, it's because communication's important, I guess, in a situation like this, and the idea this is not a forgotten war. Like often wars are forgotten around the world. This is the headline.
That's what. That was I was exactly writing in my Twitter account a day ago, because when the war starts, when the conflict starts, everyone's writing about it. Everyone is getting his attention to something happening. Everyone is interested in this. Everyone's watching photos, watching videos, writing down and stuff like that. But in 4 days, 5 days, week, 2 weeks, months, everyone forgets about it. It's like a situation that was in Belarus border with Poland. You remember with the Syrian guys who tried to flee away, and everyone was talking about for a week or 2 weeks. But in the 2 weeks, everyone forgot about it. Everyone again began talking about coronavirus and stuff like that. And that's why I try to say that we need to isolate Russia and we need to help Ukraine right now before it's not forgotten, because Russia needs it. Russia needs it most for everyone to forget about the situation. So that's why I'm talking to you, and that's how I see my role in this. And especially because I'm working in the music industry, I try to do my best in this industry because I understand it. That's why I'm talking about these offices of Spotify and Apple Music in Moscow, and that they need to go away from that and open Ukrainian office, or at least give representatives here. Because I hope that the war will end anytime soon, or I can't speak about it because I don't know how long will it take. But after this, we just want to be separated from Russia in any way we can.
I mean, what do you see the role of Western musicians and media people? When musicians, actually, let's talk about musicians. I mean, we feel powerless. There's not a lot we can do, but is there things that we can do that make you feel better, or maybe it's a communication thing? I mean, what can we do?
First of all, that's why I wrote you down. I wrote Richard down from Quietus, first of all, because we need everyone to say that they support Ukraine, because Russia's narrative is to say that it's not a war at all. It's like a conflict, it's like a crisis, but we need peace, we need everyone to be fine. No, it's not a crisis, not a conflict, it's a war, it's an invasion, it's an occupation. And you need to speak it loudly. You need to speak loudly that Ukraine is occupied, and we're peaceful guys. We just want to live our lives. Kyiv is a successful city. Every year we get better and better. We get a lot of musicians. We get a lot of Ukrainian musicians traveling abroad, like Daha Bracha. They're really famous, and it's fine. We live really normal lives. And now I speak to you in a city that is full of shootings and people dying on the streets. So my asking for European, British, American musicians from all around the world, just say that you cancel tours in Russia. Say it loud, and because it will be cancelled in any way, because you see what's happening with air. European Union blocks air for Russia. Russia blocks air for air forces from all around the world. So you will not have an ability to travel to Russia and make your concerts in any way if you don't want to travel by train. I don't know, throughout Belarus. So it's crazy. But anyway, we need to say it loudly right now that you can't support Russia. You support Ukraine. You need Ukraine to be united. You need European Union, American, everyone around the world to be united around this problem and not call it a crisis, but call it a war against Ukraine, because we just need a peace. We don't want to, counterattack and stuff like that. We just want peace.
I mean, if it's any consolation, a lot of the bands that are on the bill of that Moscow festival and the email that Richard sent this morning, they have been cancelling one by one during the day and saying why. So that message is getting out there. Yeah, so that's happening.
This really helps.
I've emailed Spotify waiting for them to reply because I have some contacts there. So see what happens at that point. I mean, you were engaged with a lot of Russian people before, Ukraine, Russia before Putin started this crazy war. We're close, aren't they? You're actually bizarrely, you're brothers, aren't you? Really? And in the music scene in Russia, you would know a lot of people. I mean, how does that work now? You trying to be in touch with these people, or is it just fellow musicians who this war has got nothing to do with, the Russian ones?
It's kind of a tricky question, because I've got not a lot of people from Russia still in my contact list, because I began as a Latin from Russian business from 2014 after they invaded Crimea and Donbass. So, but still, the problem is that it's about my personal opinion, my personal friends. But the business in Ukraine is very highly connected with Russia, especially in concert field and in music field, because as far as you know, as if you work in music industry, you know that when the big artist books his tour, he tries to book as many cities, as many countries as he can in some region, because it's just more optimistic for a budget. It's okay, everyone does it, and that's why a lot of, for example, concert agencies book artists for 3 cities in a row: Kyiv, Moscow, and Minsk. So every time, even they knowing that we have a problem in Ukraine with Russia, it's just more cost efficient to book throughout the Russian agent to go in what they call Eastern Europe. Mm-hmm. The same situation happens with distributors. If you're an album or if you're in a band and you want to download your music on the streaming services like Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube Music, stuff like that, you just need to go through distributors. And the main offices of the distributors are also in Moscow. So if you want to be an Ukrainian artist and not download it through services like DistroKid or CD Baby, but through official distributors, they will be in Moscow. So in any way, just wanting to be a Ukrainian artist, you need to connect with Moscow office. That's what I want to change, because it's like you're in a jail. You're like in a distribution jail. The same situation with music services, because Spotify says they don't have Ukrainian office, but it's operated from Europe. But that's not true, because I work with artists and they need to operate from Moscow office. I know the guy from Moscow office who operates this. I wrote him down. I asked him to make, for example, total Ukrainian playlist without Russian artists. He told me, I don't see a reason for that, because you listen to Russian artists. And he's right. We really listen to Russian artists. We share the same language, Russian language. A lot of people in Ukraine speak Russian language. But still, we need Ukrainian playlists, the same for Apple Music. But they don't do it because they don't understand what's happening here. They see it from Russian side. And if before it was could at least discuss it. Now we can see that Russian vision on Ukraine totally don't match Ukrainian vision on Russia. And that's what I want to change.
And what about the Russian artists, Russian bands? You know, the ones that, I mean, there are radical bands. There are bands in Russia who have no agreement at all with this current regime, the Putin regime. I mean, are you still in communication with those, or have you got a message for those people? You know, bands like Short Paris or whatever.
It's like the liberal wing of Russian artists who sometimes try to oppose Putin, oppose regime. The same as Belarus, by the way. So the situation is similar because Belarus also attacks us. They say they don't send their troops, but we are seeing missiles from Belarus side. So it's the same for Belarus and Russia. So they try to support Ukraine. Some of them really do. And really, personally, me, I can't say for all Ukrainian people, but personally, me, I appreciate it because you need to be brave in Russia right now to say, at least to say the word war, because in any way you could be jailed or something like that. But that's not enough. That's not enough to stop anything. So as for me, what we want in Ukraine, we want millions of Russian people on the streets, just marching against Putin, just marching to stop the war. We don't see it. Or maybe media don't show it. I don't know exactly. We can't see it from Kyiv, so I can't be 100% accurate. But yeah, of course, some artists are trying to support us. I know some of them. They're nice guys. But right now, for us in Ukraine, every Russian and every Belarusian who is not marching on the streets is not enemy, but he's not our friend. So it's a very, we're not tolerant right now. You can't be tolerant when people dying every day. So sorry if I'm telling not a tolerant, not European-like democratic language, but it's hard to control your emotions when you live in life like that.
Yeah, yes, it's a completely different ball game when you're on the front line. Yeah, well, brilliant, Alex. That was really great, and thanks for having the time to give us the interview.
Cool. If you need any more from Ukraine, for some information, some interviews, some other journalists, some maybe